Hello and welcome once again to Jeff's Stamps. I've just got some more arrivals here. I just want to try to give you a more accurate timeline on some of the history of these stamps in Australia and where it all began. Of course, before 1901 is when Australia became a federation. Each Australian stamp had its own colonial mail system and issued its own stamps. So this is Western Australia's own stamp. And Western Australia had other stamps as well as this design stamp as well. So before 1901, each Australian state had its own colonial mail system and issued its own stamps. So Queensland had its own colonial mail system, so did South Australia, so did Western Australia, as you can see there, and Northern Territory and so forth. And then in 1901, the Postmaster General's Department, the PMG, was formed to take over the colonial mail systems and stamps. And the stamps remained valid, however, but the Postmaster General also began producing a uniform postage stamp series in 1913. Now, the first uniform postage stamp series, or the first national stamp, if you'd like to call it that, or definitive stamp, happened in 1913. Now, I don't have the stamp with me. I do have the stamp. I've got a few of them actually, but where I'm doing this video, I do not have the stamp with me. So I've just brought it up on the screen. So this is Australia's first uniform postage stamp, which happened in 1913. As you can see, it's the kangaroo and map stamp, the 1 penny, which came out first in 1913. And then the other denominations of those stamps also came out in that year. Okay, so that was 1913, and in that same year, I'm just trying to realign this camera now. There we go. Okay, but in that same year, or later that same year, King George V was a little bit upset that he wasn't featured on the stamp, and a lot of royalists or monarchists thought the same. So later that year, the kangaroo and map stamp was superseded by this King George V stamp, right? So that was later in 1913. However, the state stamps, they kept on circulating, and also the kangaroo and map stamp kept circulating for quite some time alongside these King George V stamps. And of course, the King George V stamps came in lots of different denominations and colours, as you can see there. So 1901, the Postmaster General's Department, PMG, was formed to take over the colonial mail systems and stamps. In 1910, all regional issues became valid across Australia after the bookkeeping clauses were replaced with state grants. So all the regional issues, all the various state stamps became valid anyway, right across Australia. That was 1910. Right then, 1913 happened, as you recall, with the kangaroo map stamp coming in and then being superseded by the King George V stamps. And then 1927, Australia's first commemorative stamp was issued to mark the opening of the first Parliament House in Canberra. In 1975, the PMG was abolished and its postal functions were taken over by the Australian Postal Commission. And the Australian government in 1989, the Australian Postal Commission was made into a government-owned corporation. So hopefully that will give you a little bit more of a timeline to make more sense of Australia's postal history. But thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that. I'll be back with another video very, very soon. Bye for now.